Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 189. Today, we are here to do our final NBA mock draft. We're recording this on Monday night. You'll be hearing this on Tuesday. The NBA draft is on Thursday. Crazy that the NBA draft is already here. I mean, it feels like the Denver Nuggets just won the finals last week because they did. And then we've already had multiple trades go down. And the NBA draft's in 3 days. Like, what a awesome time for the NBA right now.
It's really weird because I expected the NBA to just take a break and slow down for a little bit. No, we are in this shit. It's probably until after the draft that it finally slows down a little bit. But we're right here. Mm-hmm. We're in the end. This is like NBA season, in-season drama type stuff, and it's awesome.
Exactly. I love the offseason. It's one of my favorite parts of the NBA. Honestly, the playoffs and offseason are hand in hand for me because the Pistons don't make the playoffs, so the offseason's probably first for me. It's just like it's like a TV show. I mean, there's just so much trades and entertainment that goes on in the offseason. I love it. And it already started last night on Father's Day. I was out on the golf course with my dad. By the way, shout out to all the dads. Happy Father's Day yesterday. And he's the one that broke the news to me. He pulls out his phone, and he didn't even know what team Bradley Beal was on. He goes, Bradley Beal traded to the Wizards? I'm like, oh, no, he's on the Wizards, but he just got traded? What? And I saw it was the Suns, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, I didn't think that actually was going to happen.
Yeah, it's similar on a lesser scale to the Dame situation with Bradley Beal, where it's felt like he's never going to get traded because he's always in trade talks. He's gone. We're not going to have to watch Bradley Beal in a red, blue, and white jersey again for a little bit, for the foreseeable future. Who knows after the Suns, but what a crazy blockbuster out of nowhere. Since the moment Matt Ishbia took over, crazy shit has been happening in Phoenix. It is hilarious.
He really has gone, and I obviously like Matt Ishbia because he's an MSU guy, but I've never been too big of a fan of the owner comes in and just is the GM, you know, type thing. But I love Matt Ishbia, so I can't, he's done a lot for Michigan State University, so if it works out and they win a ring or whatever, then it works out, obviously. And it was a great trade for the Phoenix Suns, I guess, for what you had to give up if you were willing to move on from Chris Paul, which was true. The full trade here, Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, and Isaiah Todd go to the Phoenix Suns for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second-round picks, and multiple pick swaps. I don't think it's really come out which ones yet. I would assume the swaps are probably just the years that Phoenix still owns their pick, which is probably only 2 seasons, so that would make sense for the swaps. And then the multiple second-round picks, obviously, doesn't seem that wild. But for both sides, this is a weird trade. A guy of Bradley Beal's talent, of his caliber, I know that he gets slept on because he plays in Washington and they're, not a great team and not a big market. But when healthy, I know last year he was injured for a lot of the season. Bradley Beal is a fringe top 25 player in the NBA and one of the better 3-level scorers in the entire NBA. So for him to get moved for Chris Paul, who was looked at as a negative asset because he basically got cut by Phoenix a week or so ago. Landry Shamet, who's on not a very good contract currently, and no first-round picks for a guy of Bradley Beal's caliber, who's only 29, by the way. Bradley Beal is not very old. I know, right?
He's still young.
I know, it's pretty crazy. And then you also get Isaiah Todd in the trade as well, who was the 31st pick of the draft 2 years ago.
That's what I didn't get.
Hasn't really played at all, but
I saw that and I was like, hold up, you don't need to give anymore.
Yeah.
You've given Bradley Beal and you're taking the shitty Chris Paul contract.
Exactly, yeah.
Hoping to flip it, knowing who wants Chris Paul other than, then it has come out, the Clippers are super interested, which would be sweet, but so weird that the Wizards gave up so much and got so little in return.
Right, but it was all because of the contract of Bradley Beal. Having the no trade clause, I think that, and Brian Windhorst, once again, he called his own shot, but it was kind of obvious. The no trade clause, it really devalues any other team's value of Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal can pick and choose where he wants to go. If they have a deal set up with the Detroit Pistons and, the Pistons are willing to give up pick 5 for Bradley Beal, the Wizards are like, all right, it's cool, let's do it. The Pistons are like, all right, cool, let's do it. Bradley Beal's like, nah, I don't want to go there. Doesn't. He says, I want to go to Miami or Phoenix. So it's down to those two teams, and if both of those teams are interested, why would Phoenix give up a lot if he says, I want to go to the Suns? It's either the Wizards who literally said, we want to trade Bradley Beal and start the rebuild. You trade him to the Suns for whatever the Suns are willing to give you, which is clearly not a lot.
Nothing.
or you just continue to have Bradley Beal and stay in this purgatory that they were in for the last at least 5 seasons. Whereas now you can start your rebuild. It wasn't, you don't get any young assets in this trade. You don't get any picks that are going to be very valuable, but it allows you to start your rebuild. Maybe you should have done it a year earlier to potentially get Scoot or Wembanyama. But for Washington's standpoint, it's smart for them to get off of Bradley Beal and that no trade clause, but it's tough to move it for what you moved it for.
I would be so upset if I was a Wizards fan. And I understand all the points and I understand all that, but it's still upsetting to know that you basically just wasted 10 years of Bradley Beal. Like,
essentially.
You did nothing with him ever. He was totally useless and you didn't get anything for how great he became. Okay, you nailed the draft pick. Typically, you get something in return for nailing a draft pick. Not the Wizards. They got nothing. I feel so bad for Washington fans and people who are going to pay for seats next year if anybody does. Kuzma's free agent. Kristaps free agent. Could come back. This team is just headed towards full rebuild after a year where it looked like they were ready to try to compete. Where it was like, we're going to compete right now. And then 1 year later, it's like, maybe we don't have it.
Yeah, and Bradley Beal injury allowed Kristaps Porzingis, and maybe not a career year for Kristaps Porzingis, but one of his best years that he's had over the last few. And Kyle Kuzma had a career year, so both of those guys are going to get paid, and hopefully they can, get some sign-in trades for those guys, so they don't just lose them for nothing, because I would assume both of them are going to be gone, especially Kristaps. But yeah, Brad, they wanted to get off that contract while Beal still had some value. Maybe if you did this a year later, maybe you don't even get the pick swaps. Maybe it's just 2 bad contracts for Bradley Beal and a second-round pick, and that was it. However, maybe you should have done this a year or 2 ago before he signed that brand new extension. So I understand doing it now because his value is only going to get lower and lower, but it already is low. So it's a really tough move. From the Phoenix standpoint, though, another weird trade to me. I like that. I'm not saying that this is not going to work or anything. Currently, the Phoenix Suns have 5 players under contract, and 4 of them are on max contracts, being Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton, and Cameron Payne is the lone guy who is not under or not on a max contract. I think it's safe to say DeAndre Ayton is probably going to get moved for several pieces. But right now, with the new CBA rules about going over the luxury tax, obviously Matt Ishbia clearly is willing to do that.
He don't care.
Exactly. I don't know what the rest of Phoenix offseason looks like. The trio of Beal, Booker, and KD is going to be cool. And I think Beal not as the number 1 option is going to be fun to see because he's a very good spot-up shooter. He doesn't have a lot of spot-up shooting options in Washington over his career. So I think Beal was going to be a much more efficient scorer here in Phoenix. But do they go get a point guard? Do they say Devin Booker and Beal, you guys are both the point guard and we'll just get a couple wings? I don't know.
I'll tell you what I think. I think as it stands right now, this will not work. 1,000% will not win a championship, and I'm a firm believer in that.
This year or
this season? This season, based on what they have right now. Obviously, if they make a really great DeAndre Ayton trade, things are going to change. But right now, this team, even if they make some really good signings with $9 million, they can't beat the Denver Nuggets in 7 games if they're healthy. And that's kind of where I'm looking, where it feels like you still didn't fix any of the issues that are the reasons you lost in the playoffs. You lost to the Denver Nuggets because of Jokic. You still don't have an answer for Jokic. And that's kind of where I'm sitting with some of these NBA teams where it's like, I don't know why teams are scrambling to win a chip because it doesn't feel like the window's open at all. Everything has to go perfectly still. I mean, one injury of the Nuggets and it's wide open. But the Suns team with no point guard doesn't seem like it's going to work. We've seen Devin Booker step up in recent years when Chris Paul goes down.
And I think he's looked good playing the point guard.
And yeah, he gets his 6-7 assists. I just don't know if it's like the answer at point guard, but I think it could work. My worries is on the other end of the floor, on the other side of the ball. What are you going to do to stop teams? Because I can see that becoming a real problem.
Right, and with the way how the cap is now, the mid-level exception it's a high dollar amount. I think the mid-level exception is like $11 or $12 million. And then there's that other like the taxpayer exception, which is the in-between one. Like it's going to be tough to get guys to want to come there for the low amount for that vet minimum when they can go get the mid-level exception from another team. However, Phoenix is a championship caliber team, so there'll probably be at least a guy out there that's willing to do that. One argument I don't like is how they made their depth sucks. Obviously their depth sucks. It sucked last year in the playoffs. This package of Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and multiple second-round picks wasn't going to go get you depth.
For sure.
So it's if you can put that package together to get Bradley Beal, sure, why not do it? I mean, you're kind of in the same situation you were last year. Yeah, you'd rather have Bradley Beal than Chris Paul, essentially. So the whole depth thing, it's their depth was going to suck either way. It depends on what they can do in free agency here. Obviously, if you would have just waived Chris Paul, you probably would have had more options to go make that depth deeper. But the Ayton trade is really what's going to be interesting. And I don't think you're going to trade DeAndre Ayton for 4 role players, that are going to be good in your rotation. Probably not.
Teams don't even have that. Teams don't have 4 good role players.
And they're not going to trade 4 of them for DeAndre Ayton. You probably get 2. You probably get a downgrade at center and a good wing player probably. That's probably going to be the trade because you don't have any picks. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Maybe Jordan Goodwin gets 30 minutes a night for this Phoenix Suns team, being he was in this trade. Maybe they see something in Isaiah Todd. But
they better. I mean, they better because they asked for them. They said we need those guys too.
And Washington was like, sure, dude. Even though we're rebuilding and we have this 20-year-old on our bench
who was a top prospect,
hasn't played because we don't have minutes for him, and now we might have minutes for him. Sure, let's throw him in the trade.
Yeah, we don't need him. Actually, we don't really want him.
Whatever. I guess it's Johnny Davis season for the Washington Wizards. So that was a really interesting trade. We will see what Chris Paul who wants Chris Paul. If I had to take a guess, I think the Wizards just waive Chris Paul.
Me too.
Because he's on that contract where unless it's the Clippers, and I can't remember if Eric Gordon is still under contract.
That was the talk, was an Eric Gordon trade.
Unless it's Eric Gordon and a second for Chris Paul, I don't see another team that has a bad contract that would trade for him and would that would make sense. Maybe who are you going to say?
Philadelphia. James Harden goes back to Houston. You trade Tobias Harris for your new point guard for Chris Paul.
That's not bad. That's not a bad deal.
It's an interesting little fun.
Then Washington just has to flip Tobias Harris too. But then it just becomes more. Why would you not just
give a revolving door?
You could get something for Tobias Harris though. That's not a bad one. Maybe Miami if this whole Dame thing doesn't work out. Kyle Lowry and a second for Chris Paul. Sure, and then you just waive Kyle Lowry. But I think Kyle Lowry has multiple years left on that deal. So they might
just keep him and suck.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you got to start losing games at some point.
I just wonder with the Heat. We can move on to the Heat now from this point.
Yep.
Because it came down to Miami and Phoenix for Bradley Beal. And we are going to get into this mock draft, by the way, but we just want to talk about everything leading up to the draft. The rumored offer was, because everybody was like, Tyler Hero for Bradley Beal. And then it was like, no, Tyler Hero's worth more than Bradley Beal is right now. They're not offering Tyler Hero. The rumored package was Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and I think a first-round pick. I think that was the rumored offer.
Why would you? Do you agree with that? Why would you not toss Tyler Hero on that deal?
If you're Miami, because maybe you can throw him in a different deal, I guess.
I just don't see how that is a clear 1-for-1 upgrade. Tyler Hero for Bradley Beal right now.
I get what you're saying, for sure, yeah. But I think Miami, it came out that they have higher hopes. They believe that they can go get Damian Lillard this offseason. And Tyler Hero obviously has to be in that package.
Yep.
But even if you're Washington, is that not a better offer?
That's a way
Kyle
better
Lowry,
offer.
Duncan Robinson, and a first-round pick. Duncan Robinson and Landry Shamet, both on bad contracts, for sure. They're a wash. Kyle Lowry's on an expiring deal that's cheaper than Chris Paul, but you can't go get anything else for Chris Paul. It depends on, or for Kyle Lowry. Maybe you can get something for Chris Paul, but you got a first-round pick.
That little first is nice.
It's better than multiple seconds, and I mean, maybe the swaps is what they liked, I guess.
And they probably let you hang on to Isaiah Todd.
That's a good point.
I'm going to hold on to that.
But Miami also could have pulled their offer because it is rumored that they think that they can go get Damian Lillard. They think that this is the offseason that he is going to want out of Portland, which Shams reported shortly after that today on his little FanDuel show that Damian Lillard doesn't want to leave Portland. He still wants them to try and compete, and which you got to we can't continue to have this. Why does Dame want to stay? He just wants to stay. It is what it is. There's no reason arguing.
He's there.
That's where he wants to be. That's where he is. But if Miami thinks that Jimmy Butler said that he's going to try to recruit him here and he thinks he can, it's going to be interesting to see. But it could be a big-time miss from Miami to not go get Bradley Beal, considering how low of the price.
Yeah, there was no price. I mean, the price was nothing because that's what essentially the Wizards got for him. I find it very weird, but I guess I understand the Tyler Hero ideology. But you're right, that is a way better offer. I mean, Duncan,
and Beal
Lowry.
on Miami, I feel like is such a good fit. Like, it's such a better fit than it is in Phoenix.
I think we think that because we've heard about it for 5 years.
That's a great point, yeah.
It's so we've
nice
already seen him in
traded.
a jersey for 5 years, in a Miami jersey.
And the funniest thing is, well, I'll get into it in a sec, but there's Bleacher Report dropped a mock trades article with 4 trades. Mock draft night trades.
Gotcha.
Yesterday morning before the Bradley Beal trade, and one of them is a Beal trade, and it's just like so much more than he actually got traded for. Like,
do you have it right now?
Yeah,
pulled up?
We might as well just go over that one really quick. It was to the Orlando Magic. Bradley Beal to the Orlando Magic for Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, and the 6th overall pick.
Bradley Beal got traded for a bag of chips.
I mean, you could argue Gary Harris might be more valuable than Chris Paul right now. You know, like probably not, but
that's hilarious.
Still,
how
dude,
badly
like,
they mess.
That is hilarious.
That's a mess,
and that shows you how bad these mock trades are. And we'll still go over them all. Okay, the Heat is an interesting thing to see what they're gonna do with Dame. Let's talk about Zion Williamson before we hop into this mock draft as well. It has been rumored that the Pelicans want to move up to the 2nd or 3rd pick to draft Scoot Henderson. It has also come out that they don't want to trade Zion, but they would be more willing to trade Zion than Brandon Ingram, which I think makes sense. Zion Williamson is a better player than Brandon Ingram, but obviously Zion Williamson cannot stay healthy. Brandon Ingram had a really good year last year, and Zion Williamson's value is kind of up in the air right now, so do you want to trade him while he still has some... I mean, he obviously still has some value. You might trade him for Scoot Henderson, but it's risky because what if he just, like, figures it out and stays healthy and figures out all this porn star accusations. I didn't want to say it, but I said it.
That was so funny.
Figures out all that situation.
That was so funny.
But yeah, Zion Williamson. Bill Simmons reported on his podcast today, which it's Bill Simmons, so take it with a grain of salt. He said Zion Williamson, expect him to be traded by Thursday. By draft night.
That's
wild.
It is crazy that like Zion has gone on this trip because I don't think that like this whole idea of him now being there was a time where you couldn't trade Zion. Like as in like
there's never been a time where you could trade Zion. Yeah.
Like you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now it's like
Tigers won. Let's go.
Zion is acting crazy. He doesn't play. And I mean that he can't stay healthy. And now he's dealing with the off the court stuff.
Which isn't that big of a deal, by the way. Like all jokes aside, it's really not that big of a deal.
The Pelicans just fired his favorite reporter.
I saw that. Yeah, it was one of their assistant coaches, Teresa Witherspoon.
And there's been issues with like him and the training staff in New Orleans. Something's going on with Zion Williamson. Something is. That's why they're willing to trade him. He's kind of a scary asset. Like because you just are so. You have no clue how it's going to turn out. So I can see them just going, hey, I guess we're just going to wash our hands. We're in no position to like win the chip right now. Let's just get rid of him. Let's move on. Let's see what we can do. Because something's going crazy.
And my concern is because I saw that Charlotte, and none of this is like confirmed, by the way. So all this like reported stuff. It's all he say, she say. But it said that Charlotte would rather have Ingram than Zion if they were trading for if they're trading the 2nd overall pick, and Portland wants Zion, which I think Portland would want Zion for sure. It's just something for Dame, and he's young still going forward. But New Orleans is not going to trade Zion for the 3rd pick, and then Charlotte just says, we'll just take Scoot Henderson, actually. And then New Orleans just gets stuck with Brandon Miller, and maybe you take Amen Thompson at that point. So I think it has to come down to Charlotte. Is Charlotte willing to move the 2nd overall pick to form a social media nightmare duo of LaMelo Ball and Zion Williamson? I mean, that is just House of Highlights to the maximum. It's going to be awesome.
It's worse than House of Highlights because it's also ABC 12 News that they're going to be on later.
Yeah, right.
Because they're terrible.
Imagine
in the
Eric
media.
Collins calling the LaMelo to Zion lobs, dude. Oh my god,
he'd be going crazy.
He's going to be going nuts. Will Zion be traded before draft night on Thursday?
I don't know about
after
before.
Thursday,
I think during draft night. I think it's very likely that if Charlotte takes Brandon Miller at 2. We see Zion get moved immediately. It's like, oh, okay, here, Portland, here's Zion. We want Scoot. Let's go. Let's just get the deal done. It's going to be that. I think it's that simple. I don't know beyond that. Beyond draft night, Portland ends up keeping their pick or whatever, or Charlotte goes out and just says, we'll take Scoot. I don't know what happens from there. It gets really interesting for even like a team like Charlotte, who has been so weary about drafting Scoot, and it's come out they want Brandon Miller because of fit and everything, blah blah blah. I just think it's all so up in the air, and so Charlotte, it's all up to Charlotte. Mm-hmm. Charlotte decides if Zion gets traded
for
or
sure.
not.
I definitely would agree. Do you think that let's say what's the dude's name in New Orleans? David Griffin. Let's say he calls up Brad Holmes, and he really wants to move. Or Brad Holmes. Oh my God. Troy Weaver.
I just did the whole Brad Holmes. Okay, Aiden Hutchinson in the
Detroit
deal.
Great Detroit GMs are all in my head. He calls up Troy Weaver and says, "You know what? Charlotte and Portland, they both didn't want to trade for Zion. He's too big of a threat. We still want to go get we want to get off him. We want to try to get Amen Thompson. We don't think Houston's taking him at 4. Zion for the 5th pick plus filler. Marvin Bagley. You're not giving up either of Cade, Ivy, or Duren. Maybe you give up Bogdanovich. You probably give up Bogdanovich.
Probably.
Maybe Alec Burks, maybe Bagley, maybe Wiseman. It doesn't matter other than it's not those 3 guys. What do you like? You think you would do it?
Mr. Griffin. This is my answer. Mr. Griffin. It seems that you've offered me a nice little trade. Let me talk with my team. Yeah, I think we're gonna accept that immediately. I don't see if.
But you were just talking about how Zion doesn't play any games. He's got all this stuff going on.
He is, but if he's coming to your hometown, you think you can change him, or not your hometown, but your own team. You think something's going to change. Same way with Portland. Why they want him? They think Zion's going to be different the moment he gets to Portland. If we can get Zion Williamson, he's going to be different.
Right.
You say that as a fan, hoping.
Exactly. You hope.
But who knows? But I absolutely think. I think the value is there. I mean, 5th overall pick for a guy like. Zion Williamson.
There was a point where Zion Williamson was Victor Wembanyama 4 years ago. He was this best prospect since Anthony Davis type dude.
And every time
he still is, he's still that good when he plays. It's not like he's he's still a project. No,
he gets on the floor and he's
plays,
nasty.
He is dominant. He is a top 15-ish player in the NBA when he plays. He played 25 games last year.
Has he played a full 82 yet?
He's had to have, right? Because his second year, I think he played a good amount. I'm pretty sure.
He might be hovering right around the mark.
Yeah, it's got to be. He's got to be over 82 for sure. But
okay, we're 20 minutes into this.
Yeah,
we got to get to the box.
We definitely have to get into them. Well, the thing is, we can go quick through it though. We don't need to talk about all the dudes.
Yeah, low key, especially at 20 through 30. These guys suck.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't matter.
But I want to show you these mock trades.
Okay,
I think they'll be fun. So the first one involves the Detroit Pistons. It is the Detroit Pistons trading up to the 2nd overall pick to take Brandon Miller. The Pistons receive the 2nd overall pick and Gordon Hayward, so taking on Gordon Hayward's bad contract, in exchange for the 5th overall pick, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Alec Burks.
Ooh.
I think there's no way in hell Charlotte does this. I think Charlotte does not. I just don't see Charlotte wanting to move down 5 spots just to get off that Gordon Hayward contract. I understand you're getting good players in Bogdanovic and Burks. The Pistons, I don't know if they would want to do this either because you're giving up Bogdanovic and Burks.
The Bogdanovic part makes it really hard
but you're moving up 3 spots.
Yeah, but Bogdanovic, the part of the issue with Bogdanovic is how much he's established that he wants to be here and wants to be the vet.
Right.
And so not many guys I want to go be a vet on a young team. That's not very
true.
Good.
I feel like there's a pretty high chance Bogdanovic gets traded tomorrow, like on draft night, whether it's in this trade or a different one.
I don't think there is. I think he's here. I think he's here for at least another. He's up for an extension after next year.
They gave him a 1-year deal, so he's on a 2-year deal. But I think with a team option on the 2nd year, I'm almost positive. So. Yeah, I just don't think that Charlotte does this.
No, Charlotte definitely does.
I don't think Charlotte,
makes no sense
they don't get
Charlotte.
any. Maybe if you get a future pick, and Detroit can't trade picks right now.
It makes way more sense for Detroit than it does Charlotte.
Yeah, for sure. Harley's going crazy up there. All right, next one. This is another weird one. The Atlanta Hawks received the 10th overall pick, Davis Bertans and JaVale McGee from the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for John Collins and Onyeka Okongwu. I don't think Atlanta wants to trade Onyeka Okongwu.
Why
would you not just trade Capella instead of Okongwu, I guess, And
That's a terrible trade.
John Collins is not that good. That trade, I don't think either team likes that trade.
If that trade went through, we would talk about how much the Mavericks just fleeced.
Right.
Because, the Mavericks are in no
Unless
position
the
to
10th
draft
overall
talent.
player is some, really good player, I guess.
Yeah, but even, why
would you trade Okongwu?
The Mavericks are in no spot to draft a player. They're thinking we have traded already. They're already shitting themselves. We need to get winning players. And you're just making it easy and giving them a young piece. We're going to give you John Collins, who blah, blah, blah. Probably wouldn't work with Luka because defensively he's just so bad. Mm-hmm. But Onyeka Okongwu would be a monster next to Luka.
He would break out.
And he's been the guy you've been saying, well, we're waiting for Clint and Collins to leave so we can finally give Okongwu minutes.
Right.
And they're, well, actually, we'll just trade him instead.
Yeah, I don't see that
terrible.
one. Especially if you're trading for the 10th overall pick, you'd think you'd want to keep a young guy that's on your team as well.
Anybody.
And then the last one, because I already said the Beal one. Or no, there's two more. Never mind. This one is an interesting one. The Indiana Pacers received the 3rd overall pick and Yusuf Nurkic from the Blazers in exchange for the 7th overall pick and Miles Turner. So a little center and pick swap here. Indiana moves up 4 spots, giving up Miles Turner in exchange for Yusuf Nurkic and the 7th overall pick.
Oh, you just don't want Nurkic, though. You have Miles Turner,
Right.
who's a good player and plays games and does everything you need for your team. He stretches the floor well. And I like the guys that are sitting at 7 for the Pacers.
Right.
I think there's a lot of good players. I don't think 4 gets you any better. They don't need guards. They don't need one of the Thompson twins. They need wings, and the wings are deep in this class. Just sit at 7.
I think this would be good for Portland. This would be an interesting move, but it's just the top 3 in this class it's tough because there's a top 3 and then there's a gap and then there's pick 4, So it's and I honestly think it's the top 2. I just think Scoot possibly being available at 3 makes it like that. So yeah, I don't know. Moving up 4 spots and not giving up any other future assets is tough.
I think that's a bad move if Scoot falls to 3.
I really do too. Obviously,
think
we're going to
it's
talk about it in the mock draft, but okay, last one. This was a Scoot Henderson trade with New Orleans. Not giving up Zion either. The New Orleans Pelicans received the 2nd overall pick and Cody Martin from the Charlotte Hornets in exchange for the 14th overall pick, which Pelicans have, the 2027 unprotected Milwaukee Bucks first-round pick, which definitely could be a valuable pick in the future, Trey Murphy, and Dyson Daniels. So no Zion, no Brandon Ingram. I think this is a good package for Charlotte to get, but I think there's no way they trade out of 2 if you're not getting Ingram or Zion,
You just have to get a star player because that's who you're hoping to draft at number 2.
Right.
You're hoping to draft a future star for your franchise. And if you're getting Trey Murphy or
good players for sure,
just great players, they contribute to winning basketball, but they're just not the guy you need to put you over the hump.
and you're moving down 12 spots, which is quite the drop down.
It's a lot of
but
spots.
that Milwaukee pick could for sure be good. I mean,
You literally fall the
not many
lottery.
teams are going to be great for long periods of time. Like Milwaukee, Giannis is probably not under contract through 2027 for sure. So you never know. So that's the last one. All right, are we good to hop into this? Also, Draymond Green declined his player option today, so he will.
What does that mean?
He's going to be a free agent.
But does that mean he's going back to Golden State?
I think so. I think that means he's going to take a slight. It's a pay cut, but it's like a long term, contract still. So is it really a pay cut? I know what you mean. It'll be less value year by year wise, but that makes sense because he's freaking old. No one's going to pay him $27 million. All right, let's get into it. First overall pick, San Antonio.
The San Antonio Spurs with the 1st overall pick. It's already been announced by Brian Windhorst. We'll take Victor Wembanyama out of France. Number 1 overall pick.
Victor Wembanyama. He is minus 50,000 to go 1st overall. So if you put $100 on it, you'd win 20 cents. Shout out to that. 2nd overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets is who's on the clock for me. I don't know about you.
Was that real? What you just said?
Yeah.
Was that a real fact?
Mm-hmm. I did it when I was looking at the odds.
That's awesome. You did it?
No, okay, I didn't do it. I put it in to see how much.
I was you put what, $100 on it?
It's free 20 cents, dude.
It is. It's free money at that point. I have Charlotte here drafting as well. I don't think you want to do the social media pairing of Zion and LaMelo. I think they've got enough problems of their own. I don't think you need more of them. But I do have them taking who I think is the wrong pick. At number 2, I have Charlotte taking Brandon Miller.
Okay.
Keeping things interesting. I think they're going to go fit, and I think it's the wrong move when you're this bad. I don't think you should be thinking that way unless you're a championship contender. You don't need fit. You need to win games with good players. You'll figure out fit later.
And I think Scoot and LaMelo would fit. I really do.
Work.
Why? It's just because they both are point guard. That is why that people say it's not going to work. Like, yeah, Brandon Miller is probably a really nice fit next to LaMelo, for sure. But I think Scoot and LaMelo could be the best backcourt in the NBA in 5 years. And that is coming from a guy who is a fan of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey, you know?
And we already think that about our own
Exactly,
backcourt.
you know? So it's like...
like, Scoot and LaMelo is such a crazy thought. And to think you're like, nope, we're just going to go Brandon Miller instead. The guard play is so important. Just get Scoot.
Definitely. Second overall pick, Charlotte Hornets. I have Scoot Henderson still going here. Whether or not it's via trade, I think Scoot Henderson goes number 2, no matter what. I actually personally think that there is a better chance Brandon Miller falls to pick 4 than goes nummer 2. Like,
Gotcha.
I really do think, because of a trade. I think that if a trade happens where a team needs a guard, because Portland trades out of number 3, I think that getting an Amen Thompson could be more like franchise starting than Brandon Miller. Not saying I don't like Brandon Miller, but
Brandon Miller is much the Keegan Murray of this draft.
Could be.
He's like the great piece.
But he's not 23 years old. He's 18.
Keegan Murray was that old coming out?
22 or 3.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, currently the odds for the second overall pick, Scoot Henderson has taken a huge jump here. He's at minus 260 with Brandon Miller being at plus 175. Just a few days ago, Brandon Miller was the odds-on favorite. Could this mean that the books think a trade is going to happen? I would think so, because the signs aren't pointing that Charlotte's going to take Scoot Henderson, so maybe they think a trade is going to happen. But yeah, Scoot Henderson is who I have going second overall. Third pick.
My number 3 pick. I have the New Orleans Pelicans drafting here. They watch, like I wrote it out already. Brandon Miller. They see Brandon Miller go second, and they go, and they lick their lips because they're so excited. And Zion's traded that night. They still keep 14. I don't know what it looks like. I had him still keeping 14. I've got no clue what it looks like. But I've got them going with Scoot Henderson here at 3.
So New Orleans gets
New Orleans gets Scoot.
Nice.
And that's their future moving forward. Brandon Ingram, Scoot Henderson, Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy. I mean, they're just a loaded core moving forward.
Awesome core. Maybe you still have all the Milwaukee Bucks and LA Lakers picks too. I mean, you're just waiting for them to suck. A lot could. I mean, I think that the Pelicans probably could pull off a trade without Zion or Ingram potentially with Portland. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. Yeah, for me, third overall pick, I have Brandon Miller here going to Portland. I struggle to go back and forth about this Portland thing because it's like, part of me is like, Portland either needs to trade Dame or trade the pick. You can't make the pick and keep Dame, you know?
Yeah.
But if Dame wants to stay, you can still like rebuild. I know you have Dame, obviously, but like think about it. If you get Brandon Miller, you have Simons, Sharp, and Miller, and you have another first round pick in this draft. And I mean, that's not a lot, but like,
it's a good
Dame's going to be gone at some point, you know? Yeah. Like, at some point, you either just don't re-sign him or he retires, you know? It's not like he's getting really younger. So you still have these pieces going forward. You just have to commit to, okay, hey, Dame, like, I know you want to stay and everything, but, like, we're still going through this rebuild. Like, we're not going to be a great team. That Dame might not like that, and it might push him to want to leave. But I feel like it's not the end of the world if you just like are willing to commit to that, to say, okay, we're still going to rebuild even though we have Dame on our team. It's not easy to do, but they might have to do that.
Yeah, it's weird because Dame just wants to win so badly, and it's putting that pressure on the front office where they don't need it. Dame isn't leaving. Dame's not going anywhere. You can just do whatever is best for you, not what's going to keep Dame happy. Because in all honesty, it's probably best if Dame was unhappy and wanted to leave. Like that's probably best case scenario for this Portland Trailblazers right now. I agree. I think best case scenario is they keep the pick, they draft, and they move on. Mm-hmm. They continue playing, and they say, Dame, if you want to be here, this is the squad you're playing with. It's not changing.
Right. And also, like, if you are trading Dame to the Miami Heat, like, do you want Tyler Hero as like the main asset in that trade? Not really, right? No. You don't need another guard like Tyler Hero. I mean, obviously you could flip him if you want, but you wouldn't flip Tyler Hero. Like, he would be on your team. You could run Simons, Hero, Sharp.
Just small.
It's just small. And then you're going to have the third pick, Brandon Miller, too. Like, or if you get Scoot, like, you know, it's going to be tough to see how that happens. But yeah, I have Brandon Miller going here at 3. Pick 4, the Houston Rockets.
Here I have the first of the Thompson twins going, Amen Thompson at number 4. Just giving this team like a guard, like a guard that can seem to pass the ball a little bit better, maybe orchestrate an offense.
Right.
I'm excited to watch Amen Thompson this year.
Yeah, I have Amen Thompson going 4 here as well. It's an obvious pick. I wanted to do something different. But if you get James Harden, that's where it throws things off. But the draft is before you get James Harden. So everything I've been hearing is the hype for Amen Thompson is getting bigger and bigger. I've seen mocks where he goes at pick 3, like I was talking about. And I think, like I said, if a team a different team that isn't the Pelicans trades up for 3, and if Scoot goes 2 with Portland, I could see a world where they want to take the potential of Amen Thompson over Brandon Miller. Not saying Brandon Miller doesn't have high potential, because he for sure does, but a lot of people are saying that maybe Amen Thompson has a brighter potential if he can really figure it out as a bigger guard. So yeah, I have Houston going there at 4. 4th overall pick odds. Amen Thompson is -160 with Cam Whitmore at +185. And then I missed the 3rd pick. 3rd pick, Brandon Miller is -230, and Scoot is +170. The 5th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons. Who will the Pistons be adding to this core on Thursday night?
I wish I had something exciting to bring to the table, but I don't. In the same we did our lottery mock draft, it hasn't changed since then. I still want Cam Whitmore at number 5 from Villanova. The elite athleticism. He's a great shot maker. I think he would just fit extremely well next to Cade, next to Ivy, next to Duran. And I think the best part about him as a wing is he's the best shooter of all the wings on the boards, and that's what I want. I want a guy who can just shoot the shit out of the ball, and that's what you're getting when you get Cam Whitmore.
Yeah, I wanted to switch things up here. I had Taylor Hendricks originally going 5 in our last one. It doesn't seem like Taylor Hendricks is going to go here at pick 5. It seems like a shot in the dark. He's at plus 1,500 right now to go 5th overall. But I don't have Cam Whitmore going here. I think Cam Whitmore potentially could fall. I have the back-to-back Twins pick. I have the Pistons taking Asar Thompson here at pick 5. Been seeing a lot of talk about Asar Thompson jumping up, going 5 or 6 in this draft. James Edwards III did a joint mock draft article the other day, and he talked about how he thinks Asar Thompson is heavily in play here at pick 5. And it's exciting. I think it would be cool as a Pistons fan. I'm really not going to be mad at any pick here as long as it's one of, Asar, Jarris Walker, Hendricks, or Cam Whitmore. As long as it's one of those guys, I'm cool with it.
For sure.
But yeah, I think it would be fun to see the Pistons try to develop Asar Thompson. He obviously has his flaws with his mechanics. He's definitely a better shooter than Amen Thompson is. But it's just going to be interesting to see that athleticism on the wing. He could be a really good defender on the wing for us. I still would probably rather have Jarris Walker over him. Cam Whitmore, I'm kind of iffy on. So, but yeah, I have Asar Thompson going 5th to the Pistons.
That's interesting. I do like Asar Thompson's game. I'm excited to see both the way those guys develop in the NBA.
Yeah,
so much fun.
And what if one of them is just way better than the other one?
That's what I was kind of thinking. These are the Twins sweepstakes.
We haven't had a Twins pick since the Morris twins. Both go high in the draft.
I was kind of thinking if these guys were the same, the exact same, you could really figure out which organization was better. Whoever ends up better.
That's a good point.
It's just clearly the organization.
Yeah, that's very true. The last odds I wrote down was for this 5th pick. Cam Whitmore is the favorite at plus 125, with Asar Thompson and Jarris Walker both at plus 340, and like I said, Taylor Hendricks is at plus 1,500. 6th overall pick, the Orlando Magic.
With the 6th overall pick, I have the Orlando Magic taking Asar Thompson here. Hopefully just get a guard who can stay around a bit. I mean, he's kind of a wing guard mixture. I think he doesn't play guard because of Amen a lot of the time, or a lot less guard because of Amen. But I can see him sliding and becoming much more of a guard role. Orlando has so many options. They just need to take the best player for most of these guys.
Right.
And Asar is the better shooter of the Thompson twins. Holy moly. And I think Orlando just could use a ton more shooting. They were terrible last year.
Good thing we both have them off the board so we can stop messing up their names.
We just don't even need to talk about them anymore.
All right, 6th overall pick for me, Orlando. Surprising pick here. I have the Magic taking Anthony Black out of Arkansas here at pick 6, jumping up the board a little bit. What is Orlando like? Dudes that are big for their position. What is Anthony Black? A 6'7", 6'8" point guard, essentially. And I think that he would be a fun fit in Orlando. You have 2 picks, so why not take a shot in the dark? You already have so many young players on this team. So yeah, you could go get a solidified guy, but I think adding Anthony Black into this guard room would be really fun. He brings a variety of tools to his game, both offensively and defensively. And I think it'd be fun to see him with all the other big bodies that Orlando has. 7th overall pick, the Indiana Pacers here.
I have them going with Jarris Walker out of Houston. The best part about Jarris Walker is the fact that he is not a great shooter, and I think that's why he fits so well in Indiana. You're surrounding him with a big man like Miles Turner who can shoot the ball really well. Tyrese Halliburton's a knockdown shooter. Chris Duarte. They got lots of guys who can shoot that ball, and I think Jarris Walker would fit right in as that I'm going to do everything else guy. He still give you his 15 points, but he's a great defender, great rebounder.
Right.
He does all the little things extremely well.
Yeah, I have Jarris Walker going 7th here as well to the Pacers. This is an obvious one. I mean, if he's on the board, I don't see how they pass on him. This is a guy that I would love to have in a Pistons uniform by the end of the night. I would be super happy with it. And I saw there's been rumor about the Pacers moving this trade or moving this pick. They said they want a high level wing if they were to move this pick. I'm not sure who you could go get. I really don't know. But I think that if you don't move it and you get Jarris Walker, I think that would be perfect.
It's a trivia time.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
That's the air horn noise.
Okay, crazy.
Little middle of the pack trivia here. We are continuing with the last 10 draft picks of these teams. We are finishing up the division that the Pistons are in, which is what?
The Central.
The Central Division. Divisions and hoops don't matter. And we're doing the Indiana Pacers today. Their last 10 draft picks. Good news for you. You only have 2 draft day trades.
Okay.
This goes all the way back to 2011.
You want to just ask me real quick,
question? Yeah. Who were the last 10 draft picks for the Indiana Pacers?
All right. So, okay. This is interesting here. So, last year, but just last first round picks, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was gonna say Andrew Nembhard, but he was a second round pick. So
they should have no years with 2 first round picks.
Okay, that's
Not
good
one
to know.
season.
Why can't I think of their first round pick last year? I already am struggling. Benedict Mathurin last year.
Let me see that pen.
Yep.
We do this every time.
Benedict Mathurin last year in 2022. 2021 was Chris Duarte. 2020.
They did not have a pick.
Okay, did not have a pick in 2020. Gotcha. 2000. I wonder who had their pick in 2020.
They have a pick every year except for 2014. Beyond that.
Okay. 2019. So this was the Tyrese Halliburton draft. Obviously, they did not select him. Okay, I'm going out of order here, but I know TJ Leaf is in here somewhere.
Wow. I wrote some stuff down about TJ Leaf because I did not expect that. Good job, bust.
Yeah, I did. Those guys stick out. Like Goga Batazzi, he sticks out as well.
He's 2019.
Okay.
The Zion draft.
Yep. Oh, yeah, right.
Remember the picture?
Yep. Okay. Other guys that might
2018. You skipped 2018 because 2017 was TJ Leaf.
Okay, never mind. I was going to say Isaiah Jackson, but he technically was part of that Russell Westbrook trade, so he technically wasn't a Indiana Pacer pick. 2018 is who I'm missing, you said? Or that's the next one? 2018 would have been... Oh, they were probably a solid team, I would guess.
Yep, this is a middle-of-the-pack pick. He is a family in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Aaron Holiday here. Yep. 2018.
Back-to-back UCLA first-round picks with TJ Leaf and Aaron Holiday.
Yep. Okay, 2016... This would have been 2016. India. Okay, I'm not even going to think about the years. I'm just going to think about
the picks.
Just
think about the guys.
Think about who the Pacers picked in the first round because they always have just like a I'm
going to be honest. Looking back at this, it explains a lot of Pacers history.
Yeah,
they stink.
Not great picks.
2016 and 2011 were both draft day trades. I will say that.
Okay.
Those are your 2 draft day trades.
16 was a draft day trade. Do you remember either of these trades?
Yeah. The 2016 one was a pretty big deal. He was the 20th overall pick. Should I tell you where No, I shouldn't tell you where he's traded to.
No.
The player was traded to Brooklyn.
Okay.
Pretty good player. Still relevant.
Like the player, like the 20th pick player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was traded to Brooklyn.
Gotcha.
And he's a good NBA player.
2016, good NBA player traded to Brooklyn.
He.
Is it Karis LeVert?
It is Karis LeVert.
Okay. He ended up back with Indiana.
That was my next hint. He ended up having a coming home story.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Missing a big name in 2015. Big name. Still on the team.
Miles Turner.
Yep.
I don't need these big of hints.
My fault.
Okay, so how many do I have left?
3. You have 2013, 2012, 2011. 13 and 12 are, I don't know, they're just such interesting guys.
Right.
One of them's still in the league, and I didn't know. I had no idea he was still a current player, but he's played like 80 games in his career a couple times. I didn't even, he currently plays for Atlanta.
Okay.
I didn't even know he was still in the league.
So, I feel like is Gorgie Zhang one of them?
No, he is not.
Okay, because he was drafted by Minnesota. I didn't know if he would have been a pick or a draft night trade. Because obviously Sabonis was not a pick of the Pacers. What are the years I'm missing again?
Here, I'll give you this hint. None of them are still on the team.
Yeah, I figured that, yeah.
This guy was picked like the late first round.
What years?
Like 18 and beyond. 2013, 2012, 2011.
Okay.
So
2013,
deep into your
12,
bag.
and 11. The 11
2013 is a
trade,
wing.
so,
He plays wing, and he went to Arizona. There are my hints.
Wing from Arizona.
Still plays in the league. Just didn't know.
Not like Shabazz Muhammad. Okay,
No, but that's a pretty good guess, I would think.
Yeah, I'll say he was.
To me, that's
he was
a good
Timberwolves
guess.
as well. I'm going with all the Timberwolves guys. Is like
And this is the guy who plays for the Hawks currently.
Currently plays for the Hawks. From
Plays in air quotations.
Right.
That is an air
on
quotation.
the Hawks.
Yeah, he's on the Hawks.
I was gonna guess like. Is Nick Johnson? Is that a name?
No.
I'm trying, or maybe that's Bryce Johnson. I think I can't remember. I don't know if I'm gonna get these. 2012 and 2013.
2012.
Definitely not gonna get the trade one.
2012 was a big man. He went to Duke and didn't ever pan out in the NBA.
Yeah.
Pretty bad NBA player. And 2011 is a big moment in NBA history. 2011 is a draft night trade. Pretty big moment. Like you can get 2011. That's the one you should focus on.
Okay. Do you know what pick this guy was then?
I think he was. I didn't write it down because I
High
thought,
though.
Yeah, it was lottery pick.
I figure, yeah.
Late lottery pick.
Big
I should say
moment.
late lottery pick. We didn't know it at the time.
So this would have been after. This would have been after the Mavs had just beaten the Heat. Okay, so this would have been. Wait, dumb question. Like Paul George isn't on this list, is he?
Mm-mm.
Okay, he was probably 2010, just right before. Oh no, is Kawhi Leonard, right?
It's Kawhi, yeah.
I forgot of Kawhi Leonard traded for George Hill. Yeah, what an interesting trade.
And we had no idea on draft night. No idea.
And George Hill was a good player for the Pacers. We'll give him that.
So I'll give you your last big hint from 2012. This guy's also an NBA family. Also part of an NBA family.
Okay. Roy Hibbert's not one of these, by the way. I didn't think so. Also an NBA family.
Big
2012.
man from Duke.
Big man from Duke. It's got to be freaking Miles Plumlee.
It's Miles Plumlee.
Yeah.
2013. I literally don't know if I have a good hint.
Yeah.
It's Solomon
Arizona.
Hill.
Oh, Solomon Hill. Really?
He's still in the league to this day.
Really?
Playing for the Atlanta Hawks.
That's
Played like
crazy.
5 games this year.
Really?
I forgot that guy existed. He's a guy.
I was not gonna get Solomon Hill.
No, Solomon Hill is so out there. Shabazz Muhammad was a good guess. But it went Benedict Mather and Chris Duarte, Goga Badatse, Aaron Holiday, TJ Leaf, Karis LeVert, Miles Turner, Solomon Hill, Miles Plumlee, and Kawhi. So the 2 best players drafted in this 10-year stretch,
Both aren't on the team.
both were traded on draft night. So maybe they should just keep the guys they think
that's
about
true,
trading.
yeah. Miles Turner, you could argue he's better than Karis LeVert, but
You could, and
but
that's really
that's
close.
about it though. Yeah.
I think your pen might have broke while I was playing with it.
Oh, awesome.
It's just great.
All right, let's get back into it. 8th overall pick. Who do you got?
With the 8th overall pick, I have Washington going with Taylor Hendricks, the big athletic wing. Guy's just, he's got all the upside in the world, so might as well go to Washington. They're in total rebuild mode at this point. So they've got the time to spend for this guy to make him really, really good.
Yeah, Washington here at 8, full rebuild. They have a lot of wings. I just feel like they don't need to get another wing. They need to get their next future guard because Johnny Davis probably isn't that. I'm talking point guard. So I got Cason Wallace here going 8 to the Washington Wizards. It's probably not the best situation for him. It's probably better for him to go to a team that has other guards around him that are going to score the ball effectively. But he plays great defense, so I got him being the next franchise guard of the Washington Wizards.
With the number 9 pick, Utah is sitting here, and this is where I had Cason Wallace going. Give them a guard. Let's go beast mode with this team. I think this team would be a lot of fun sticking him next to Lauri Markkanen in a pick and roll, and this Utah team plays the right way. I mean, top to bottom.
Yeah, Utah's first of their 3 first-round picks here at 9. This is where I have Cam Whitmore falling. He definitely fell a little bit in my draft. But I just think that some teams might not value the wing that he brings to the table compared to like a Jarris Walker. And then obviously you have your guards in Anthony Black and Cason Wallace going above him. Do I will like Cam Whitmore? For sure. If he's in the Pistons jersey, that would be awesome. But I just have him falling in this specific mock that I did. I think this would be a dream for Utah to get a guy like Cam Whitmore here at pick 9.
It'd be pretty sweet. Number 10, the Dallas Mavericks are selecting Derek Lively, the second out of Duke. This one feels obvious because clearly the Mavericks need a big man. They've got a great young wing. I really like Josh Green. I think he's going to be a monster. Kyrie Irving, Luka, you don't need scoring or guard play. Let's just go get the big and let's try to win a playoff series.
Right.
Let's go out there and hopefully Derek Lively can bring that big 7-1 frame, huge body.
Yeah, I think that I agree that is kind of obvious pick. But in this specific mock draft, there's one more obvious pick. Taylor Hendricks fell here to pick 10 in my mock, and I think that if he's there, absolutely Dallas takes him. I think he would just fit in well at that 4 spot probably for Dallas. He can continue to grow, but he could still impact the game right away with a team that's obviously looking to win now. And maybe you can still go out and make a trade. There's a pretty good chance that this pick is traded, but it's Dallas still picking here at pick 10.
My number 11, the Orlando Magic, are sitting here. They are, again, I mentioned earlier, they can kind of do whatever they want here.
Right.
But I have them going full shooter. Let's get the best shooter in the draft in my eyes, or at least one of them, Grady Dick. I think Grady Dick would fit so well. I think I had him in my last mock draft going to Orlando because I just think it'd be such a cool fit.
Yeah.
Him in that blue next to Franz, I think it would really work.
Yeah, the Suggs Dick combo is gonna be awesome. Sorry for all you listeners. I'm sorry, I stole that. I've been seeing that everywhere.
I haven't seen that yet. That's good.
All right.
Stole that.
For the 11th pick for me, this is where I have the first surprise going. I did not have this guy going in our initial lottery mock draft, and that's Bilal Koulibaly out of France, the long wing who played on Metropolitans 92 alongside of Victor Wembanyama. This is one of the dudes that has just been getting a lot of buzz throughout this draft process. Kind of got the spotlight towards the end there when that French team went on their run as one of their better players. He's still young. I believe he's 19 years old. Definitely raw. He's a very long wing, athletic wing. He can impact right away while also still grow. He's definitely a project player. But I think Orlando here is a perfect spot for that because they already had a pick at pick 6. So that's where I have Koulibaly going here at pick 11.
I love his name. What a cool name. It just glides when you say it. Number 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder are selecting here. The OKC Thunder, this is probably the toughest pick in the whole draft to guess.
Right.
Because they don't need nothing. They could go out, they could run it back with this exact same squad. I do have them taking somebody who I think can be a game changer in certain moments, and that's Jet Howard.
Okay.
I think he'd be real sweet there. It's just a big guy, create his own shot, and can knock down some really tough swing shots. When he's coming off down screens, he hits some really tough ones. I was never a fan of his shot selection at Michigan, but I think that type of shot selection typically translates to the NBA pretty well, just getting the practice, taking and making those shots.
Jet over Kobe Buffkin. That's interesting. It'll be cool to see that. 12th pick for me. I have Derek Lively going to the OKC Thunder. Like you said, they can do whatever here. Derek Lively to the Thunder was something that I really haven't seen mocked, and I kind of just thought about it when he was sitting there. It's like, yeah, you have Chet coming back, but why not go get Derek Lively as well? Why not just play them both? Derek Lively doesn't have to start; he can come off the bench. But I could easily see them two playing together.
Why not?
I mean, Chet Holmgren played with another big man in Drew Timme, and he was a terrible defender. So why not have two elite shot blocking bigs out there, along with Shea and Giddey and Williams or Dort? I think it'd be really fun to see that. So that's why I have OKC taking Derek Lively.
Man, that team would just look so good moving forward with Derek Lively. because then you just have built this defensive monster in the front court. Oh my gosh!
And then you still have hella more picks.
Hella.
Like you only have one in this draft, and that's like the only time you'll have one first round pick.
They need to just make a blockbuster. You guys go out and get Dame.
Do they need to make a blockbuster though? Like that's like I used to always be on that board, but it's like I don't think they do, bro. Like
just keep figuring out who works.
The draft picks that don't work, just don't re-sign them after the rookie deal and just draft more dudes. Like you have your core already. Like
that's a good point. That's a good point, and you can just stay young at that point.
Yeah,
you're not paying guys.
You're not paying dudes that don't. If they don't work out, just trade them for more picks. Like it's literally a video game in real life. Pick 13, the Raptors.
The Raptors. I have them getting such a classic Raptors guy. I think you forgot he was still on the board for me, or you just didn't mention it. Anthony Black out of Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Just so classically Toronto. The big position, big wing, plays defense, always makes the extra pass, big point guard. I think this would be a sweet landing spot for Anthony Black.
Yeah, I think Toronto would love if Anthony Black fell here to 13. Pick 13, this is where I have Kobe Buffkin going out of Michigan. I had this last time as well. It sounds like NBA scouts are quite high on Kobe Buffkin's game. He's still young, even though he played 2 years at Michigan. A lot of scouts believe he can play the point guard position in the NBA, which will be interesting because he didn't really play any point guard at all at Michigan. Obviously, he was a primary ball handler still. But yeah, Kobe Buffkin brings a lot to the table on all assets of the game. He's a 3-level scorer. He can play good defense. He's athletic. He's elite in the fast break. Kobe Buffkin is one of the guys I was a big fan of at Michigan the last couple of years. And I think he for sure could be a good NBA player, and I think Toronto would be a good fit for him.
Yeah, defensively, he's just so good. He's so long, so quick, covers so much ground. He was an awesome player at Michigan. I'm going to miss him the most.
2 lottery picks potentially, and Hunter Dickinson, and no NCAA tournament appearance. No, I'm not even rubbing that in. It's just like think crazy. About that. Like that's just like I would say that if it was Kentucky, you know, it's just like it's
just a miss.
It's so weird.
It's just a terrible miss out of Michigan.
But the rest of the team was really bad, so I can't just say those two.
And those two didn't perform every night. That's for damn sure. They showed the spurts.
Buffkin did most nights.
His role was allowed him to show it more, I think.
Jet would have his games, though, where he would just randomly like piece off 5 threes in the first half, and it's like, whoa. And then they still lose to Minnesota. All right, last lottery pick here, the New Orleans Pelicans. Wait, do you have the Pelicans here? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So they just didn't give up 14.
No, Portland didn't want it. They want to win right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Like they didn't even want it. They gave up CJ McCollum as well.
Back to Portland. that makes sense money-wise.
I don't know how I keep this pick. I'm not an NBA GM. Yeah. I don't be doing this. I've got them taking Leonard Miller, big wing. Maybe a little more of the defensive-minded wing, hopefully. Next to Brandon Miller, can play the 4.
Couple Millers.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Wait, no, you have
Scoot Henderson goes there. Not a couple Millers. Sorry, you made me think.
Sorry, my bad.
You made me totally switch gears. I did a sleeper draft the other day and drafted Christian McCaffrey, Christian Kirk, and the other Christian. There's another Christian.
Christian Gonzalez. No, I don't know.
Watson.
Oh, really? Yep.
Drafted all 3 of them, not even realizing
That's funny.
But yeah, Leonard Miller going New Orleans.
I got my last lottery pick here in Jalen Hood-Schifino going to the Pelicans. I had this pick in our last one as well. I just like his fit as a bigger guard in New Orleans. You have Dyson Daniels. Why not add another one? Hood-Schifino kind of brings a different aspect to his game. More of a slower, not as athletic guard, but kind of can do it all on both ends. So I got Hood-Schifino at 14. 15, Atlanta Hawks.
This is where I have Bilal Kalababi.
It works.
I said it flows. Remember when I said that?
Yeah.
It does. That came right off my tongue really easily. Like you said, this is the ultimate project guy of the draft. The ultimate foreign project.
Right.
There's one in every single draft
Always.
where it's like, this guy can be it, but he's a project.
Or he
could
be Killian Hayes.
Hey. He's going to work out.
He averaged 10 points per game last year.
He is working out. Stop it. But I think Atlanta would be a cool landing spot. Atlanta is just
They're weird.
They're in their own little hell that they caused. They live in it now.
Weird spot Atlanta's in.
Is DeJounte Murray getting traded this offseason?
I think you trade Trae Young over DeJounte Murray, right? I'm not saying Murray's better than Trae Young, but
Trae Young, I don't know. I'm not sold on being able to win NBA games with a guard like him on the floor. I'm not a believer that you can win a title. I should say.
They did go to the conference finals a couple years back.
Yes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. First pick out of the lottery here. I have Grady Dick going to the Hawks. I think that if he's still on the board here, makes a lot of sense. Add more shooting to this team. They traded for Sadiq Bey. Might as well add more with Grady Dick.
I miss Sadiq Bey.
Me too.
Number 16, Utah. This is where I have Kobe Buffkin going.
Ooh,
to,
nice.
Team up with Case and Wallace as
and
well.
Buffkin,
I think
nice.
you come out with a great moving forward of guards. That's just a great options that you have moving forward. You don't have to keep both of them for a really long time, but I think it just sets you up for the future that you're going to have one of them's going to work out at least. Buffkin, like you said, he's just a monster. Buffkin's low-key the GOAT. I mean, low-key.
Like, very low-key.
High-key, though.
High-key. Utah's second pick here. I have Jordan Hawkins going here. Kind of falling a little bit compared to where he is being mocked to go. You haven't said him yet either. But yeah, falling out of the lottery here. I think Utah, they have options to kind of do whatever they want here, but you got Cam Whitmore at 9, and you add Jordan Hawkins, who might be the best shot maker in this entire class as far as just tough shot maker. I mean, he just comes off screens and hits the most off-balance shots all tournament long. He did, and I think that he definitely can take that to the next level in the NBA, and I think with Utah it'd be a good fit.
I don't know why I wrote this guy in as my next pick. Is Nick Smith still in the draft?
Yeah.
Nick Smith Jr. still in the draft? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. 17 LA Lakers taking Nick Smith Jr. out of Arkansas. This team needs so much more than like what one draft pick can get.
Yeah,
them.
for sure.
You just
think
can't.
This pick gets traded over under? Or yes or no?
Over, yes.
Yeah.
They gets traded.
Think so?
I don't think this one probably makes it through the draft. You
So,
got to win.
You're
now.
the Indiana Pacers. The Lakers call you up and you're like, hey, Buddy Hield for the 17th pick, straight up. I know the money's weird, but just go with it. You doing it if you're the Pacers?
I don't
It's
think
decent
so.
value though for Hield. Like it's a decent pick right out of the lottery.
I mean, there are some decent players still on the board for me. I mean, like if
and Indiana's young, but Hield kind of fits what they're doing a little bit though. You know.
I mean, I think he's such a unique NBA player. You don't
Right.
get shooters like him who are good for this long.
Yeah, I mean, he is like the best 3-point shooter in the NBA. Like obviously Steph Curry is, but like from a dude that's not a stud, you know, like a guy like him is so valuable.
And don't doubt me ever forgetting that. Like every time we do the 3-pointers game, I will forget Buddy Hield every single time.
Yeah, but that shows you.
No, Buddy Hield. I don't know if I don't think you do it. I don't think 17's enough. You'd have
Really?
to. There'd be more there. I think. I don't think I could do it. Buddy Hield's too valuable. Mm-hmm. He's too good.
That'd be an interesting move,
I think
though,
a
on both
winning
sides.
team would make a bigger splash for Buddy Hield.
Okay.
A different winning team.
Yeah.
Like what about like
give up a pick in this draft and then like a later first or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like
Another
even what
player.
about like Dallas?
Yeah, I mean Dallas has a 10th pick. I don't think you trade the 10th pick straight up for Hield though, right?
Maybe you get a
Maybe
little bit
you do.
more. I don't think that's a crazy.
It's
move.
not that crazy. Dallas probably does it, honestly.
Like-
yeah, they probably do.
It's like the perfect player.
It's
next to
interesting. Yeah,
Luka.
that'll be. But could you go get somebody better with that 10th pick though? Is the question. You know.
Maybe, probably.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right, Lakers for me at 17. I have them taking a risk on Keontae George here out of Baylor. George had a very disappointing freshman year at Baylor last year. He was a top prospect going into a Baylor team that has really developed guards well in the past several years. Not that he didn't get developed well, he just didn't play as well as everyone thought. He's a scoring guard that shot the ball very inefficiently, kind of similar to Nick Smith Jr. He's more of a 2-guard though. But I think that George, in the right situation, could shine. And with the Lakers, probably isn't the right situation. But that's what I have. I think the Lakers just need to add more shooting and scoring to this team. They have good defense. They need to just get more options offensively. So that's why I got George here going 17.
At 18, the Miami Heat are up to draft. I have them taking Noah Clowney out of Alabama.
I like that.
He's kind of a project guy again. He's a big athlete, and you know what? If there's somebody I want to send a project, I want to send him to Miami. That guy's gonna be good. He will end up being a good.
Well, he's not
contributor.
undrafted though, so he probably won't be.
You're right. He'll probably get replaced by an undrafted guy that we've
in
never
this
heard
draft.
of.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out Noah Clowney.
Yeah, my 18th pick is where I have Nick Smith Jr. going out of Arkansas. You just talked about him. I think that if Miami can't pull off a Damian Lillard trade, you still need guards. If Gabe Vincent is gone, Kyle Lowry isn't quite the answer. Not like Nick Smith Jr. is going to come in and start right away, but you never know. Maybe he develops into a good player for them. Another guy that just had a rough freshman year as a top prospect, and he was injured a lot of his freshman year as well, but still definitely going to be a first-round pick in this draft.
Number 19, the Golden State Warriors are up. Let's be honest, whoever they draft here is not going to play. If Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody cannot find time on the floor, neither can the 19th overall pick. I've got them going with, I don't know if it's Derek or Dariq Whitehead.
Dariq
Whitehead
Yep.
out of Duke. Again, he's a big wing who can defend, which I think fits in Golden State. Like, let's say, a couple guys are hurt.
Yeah.
They could use this guy.
But so did Moses Moody.
And so does Kuminga.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't play. So, whoever.
Hey, new management, though. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the new GM there after Bob
Yeah.
Myers stepped down. So maybe they Mike Dunleavy said, too, that he wants Jordan Poole on the Warriors for at least 4 more years.
I saw that.
Interesting.
Why-
But I also saw they were fielding trade. Or no, they said teams were calling about Poole. So I don't know. We'll see.
Is Junior the Bulls player?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Which is cool. He's pretty shortly out of the NBA.
Yeah.
Probably definitely less than 10 years. So, over or yes or no, Jonathan Kuminga starts the year on the Warriors next year. Like, he is a Warrior starting the year next year. I don't want to say trade on draft night, but
I think
so.
I don't think they listen.
Yeah.
I just don't think
We're waiting to develop him still. Just give him time.
He literally has no power here. Like, we control his future.
And his value's not like crazy high because he
He's
hasn't
just
played that
Jonathan
much, but he
Kuminga.
still could be good. So
I think Jonathan Kuminga could be really, really good.
why
from
don't the
spurts
Pistons
I've
just
seen.
call up the Warriors again?
Why
Like,
did we
yo,
get James Wiseman?
Alec Burks for Jonathan Kuminga?
That's a move.
Why not?
That is a move.
We'll give you the 31st pick too. Like, we'll toss that in there.
Yeah.
Why not? I have Maxwell Lewis here out of Pepperdine going here
Poor
at 19.
Poor fella.
This is not a project player, so maybe he plays right away. Definitely like one of the more rises of this draft, because Pepperdine was a bad program this year. But I think Maxwell Lewis was like a top 5 shooter in the entire country in college basketball last year. And that's exactly what the Warriors do. They shoot the ball, so I got them taking potentially the best 3-point shooter in this class, wing guy out of Pepperdine.
Number 20, the Houston Rockets are back on the clock. I've got them taking Bryce Sensabaugh out of Ohio State. This is hopefully, again, I've had them taking Amen earlier in the draft. I just want them to get a guard who can pass the ball well and run the team so it doesn't look like pick up basketball out there the way it did last year at moments. That's why I got him going here.
Houston has had multiple first-round picks for now the last 3 years. They had 3 picks last year and 3 the year before, and they have 2 in this one as well. Really interested to see eventually, like, what are they going to do with all these guys? They all can't play, especially when you still got, like, Jayshawn Tate getting, like, big minutes and Kenny Martin Jr., who's a good player. So, and if you go get Harden, I don't know what their plan is. But, so I feel like they could move this pick is essentially what I'm saying. But I have Leonard Miller going here at pick 20. Definitely a project guy out of the G League, but he's big. I think that since I had them taking Amen Thompson at 4, they go get a wing here out of the G League to Houston at 20. Mm-hmm. Back-to-back picks here for the Brooklyn Nets.
With the first one, I have them taking Keontae George, the 3-level scorer out of Baylor. Hopefully he was such a high prospect. Hopefully he performs better. I'm really rooting for that guy. And then Gigi Jackson out of South Carolina.
Ooh, okay. Couple project
I don't
guys.
know a ton about Gigi Jackson.
He was another top prospect that was just on a bad South Carolina team last year. And, like, their team was really bad, and he was, like, their best player, which is kind of saying a lot because he was a young freshman that, like, wasn't very good. Mm-hmm. Raw. He's an undersized, like, 4-man.
Gotcha.
But he could be something. Who knows?
I feel like Brooklyn's a good spot for those projects as well. With Mikal Bridges,
Yeah, I definitely
Nicholas
think
Claxton was a project. Dinwiddie was a project.
As long as you move, like, some of them, they have too many good dudes that teams could use. Like, you know how badly the Phoenix Suns probably want Royce O'Neal right now?
that team should just be good.
Yeah, they could, yeah.
Like,
but
that team, I
they're
think it'd be fun.
But they don't have, like, this guy, though.
They don't have the ceiling.
Unless Mikal, maybe he could be the guy. Who knows?
You got to be a top 5 player in the league to win a chip is the thing.
Well, yeah, but even just to compete, like, to make, make noise in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Maybe. I don't know. For me, I have Jet Howard as one of them. I think that I had him falling a little bit farther than you, but I still think Jet Howard, as long as he goes to a situation where he can be himself and score and play, I think he definitely could succeed. Maybe Brooklyn's not that spot, though, because they have too many guys, but we'll see. And then with the other one, I have another wing going, more of a 2-guard, and that's Colby Jones out of Xavier. One of the older guys is going to be picked in this first round. I believe he's 22 or 23 years old. But one of the best all-around college basketball players last year at Xavier. Averaged 15, 6, and 5 on 38% three-point shooting with good defense. Definitely one of the better all-around guys, but he's old. So, how much of a ceiling does he necessarily have? Probably not that much, but a team that is competing could value that. Maybe Brooklyn is competing, so I got Colby Jones going at 22.
At 23, we're getting through this. We're chopping away.
What are we at? Are we over an
tree.
hour?
Oh, we're an hour and 8 minutes into this.
We can get it in under an hour and a half easily.
Oh, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Number 23, Portland Trailblazers, Tristan Vucevic.
Vuk. That sounded interesting.
Yeah,
It's a late night cast.
Hopefully this is just the center who can replace Nurkic.
Yeah.
I mean, Nurkic can't stay healthy, so let's get the other four.
He played in that.
This dude's a shooter.
There was a game that they had on ESPN. I think it was like just a combine game, and he was getting buckets in it. Like he was giving out free buckets to everybody.
He's a sharp shooter, dude.
Like he was. Like
he's got a strap.
He was playing pretty well. I don't have Vucevic in my first round pick or first round mock, just because the center position seems like it doesn't get picked.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But he definitely could go in the first round. 23 for Portland, their second pick. I got Dariq Whitehead going here. I originally had Brandon Miller going at 3 to Portland. So adding another wing here, Dariq Whitehead struggled with injury his freshman year at Duke. Another top prospect that just wasn't lived up to the hype. A lot of his was due to injury, but can be a very good all-around player at some point if he gets an opportunity.
24 is one of my favorite picks in the draft with Sacramento.
Really?
Because they have a prime opportunity to do things few teams do. They're going to go out and get Chris Murray with the 24th overall pick.
Oh, okay.
And they're teaming up the brothers. They're coming back.
Why not, right?
What else are you going to do with the trade, with this pick? It's the 24th pick. How often does it actually work? Just get Chris Murray. It'd be sweet.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, it would just be cool.
I would like that. Yeah, I have Bryce Sensabaugh here going at 24. It seems like Sacramento wants to make a trade to go get another high-level wing. I know they were in the Bradley Beal talks. I know they've been in the OG Anunoby talks. So it seems like Sacramento could definitely move this trade for maybe you go get Buddy Hield back. Like maybe you go get him again.
Kevin Huerter 2.0.
Yeah, like then just
run two of them.
Yeah, just play them both. But yeah, I have Bryce Sensabaugh going here. Definitely one of the better scoring freshmen in the country last year out of Ohio State. Coming at that wing spot, I think that's what they're looking for in Sacramento. So that's where I got him going.
Sorry, excuse me, late night cast.
Yeah.
Number 25, the Memphis Grizzlies, who, did we ever mention Ja, 25 game suspension?
No, we didn't. Yeah, Ja, 25 game suspension, 25th pick. That's probably how they did it.
That's probably how they did it. And that's a bad suspension, just not long enough. Maxwell Lewis is who I have going to Memphis here. I don't know much about these bottom guys.
Dylan Brooks replacement, I guess.
Hopefully.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks is going to be gone, so they got to get a wing. Maxwell Lewis, I actually really like that fit in Memphis. That would be a good one. I have another guy that you probably haven't heard much about, kind of a late riser into this one, and it's Oliver Maxence Prosper out of Marquette. I remember when we played against Marquette in that game. He didn't. I don't think he had a good game. I'm pretty sure we low key locked him up. MSU is what I'm talking about, obviously. But he's kind of can be an immediate 3-and-D player in the NBA. He was a sophomore at Marquette, so a little bit older than most. But he's long at 6'7", and definitely will impact right away. And like I said, Memphis is losing Dylan Brooks. They have John Morant suspended. Definitely going to need some minutes from the group of young guys that they have, because they have a lot of young guys still on that bench. And maybe Prosper can come in and be that guy for them.
Yeah, number 26, I have Indiana. Now that I'm looking at this, maybe they do trade Buddy Hield. Maybe it's time, baby. Because I've got them taking Jordan Hawkins out of UConn. Maybe getting that new scoring wing, the big 2-guard who's really, actually he's a
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He's kind of a little 2-guard, I guess.
Yeah, he's only like 6'5", I think.
Yeah. So, but he's just a beast. He's so athletic.
Yeah.
Big dunker. I like Jordan
Very
Hawkins
good scorer. 26 for me, Indiana. They're good at taking these guards, like these late picks guards. They had Andrew Nembhard last year, turned out. Why not take Brandon Podziemski out of Santa Clara? This is a guy that a lot of people love because he is just an outright scorer. The dude scores the pill out of the ball, averaged 20 points per game last year at Santa Clara. He's a good playmaker as well at 6'4". I don't know if he's going to be a 1 or a 2, but go get another guard to add into this group of elite guards that they're developing over there in Indiana.
27. This is the Charlotte Hornets. Hopefully they just make a bad move here. I don't know. I've got Jaime Jaquez going here. Oh. He's 22 years old, so he's probably going to be good first time he steps in the NBA, or at least solid. But who knows what he's going to be. I mean, he's like a bigger wing, but he's really a 4, but he's too small to play the 4 in college the way he did.
Right.
Or in the NBA the way he did in college. So he's interesting. Hopefully he can stretch the floor a little bit better than he did in college.
Yeah, he'll probably just be a wing, I would assume.
But big 3.
Right.
Slow.
Yeah, I'll never forgive Jaime Jaquez for what he did to MSU in that play-in game back in 2021.
I will never forgive what he did later in that same tournament to us.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just terrible.
It wasn't even like at least Johnny. You guys had the Johnny Juzang game though. Johnny Juzang really wasn't even giving MSU the work. It was Jaime Jaquez, and it was like, man, this sucks.
I hate hearing those names. Like those names.
Tiger Campbell.
Tiger Campbell's the one I actually kind of liked out of the group.
I never liked him.
I liked him at La Lumiere is the reason.
Okay, 27 for me. This is where I got Chris Murray going to Charlotte.
Great move.
Cool.
28 Utah getting their third guard of the draft. One of them will work. Colby Jones. This one's your scoring guard.
Yeah.
This one's the one that gets down, bop, 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 nail some shot for you. And hopefully that works out.
Yeah, 28. That's where I got Noah Clowney going. Might as well get a project big wing, like a bigger wing. Obviously, maybe could be a center for you, but more of a project guy. So that's who I got at 28.
What was I doing at the end of this draft?
I don't know. Why?
I have Indiana taking Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Whoa, he fell.
He fell really far. Big slow guard. I just didn't. He's not my favorite guard in the draft. By no means is he my. I struggle with the big slow thing at guard. I struggle with those two words. I like big. I don't like slow. And
big and fast don't come together quite often.
No, rarely. And they usually don't play point guard.
Yeah, exactly.
If they are that way. But yeah, I've got them going Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Yeah, Indiana's third pick of this draft. Yeah, third pick of this draft. So maybe you don't trade for pick 17 since you already have 3 first.
Yeah.
So might as well go project. I got Ryan Rupert, the third Frenchman out of this draft class. He played for the New Zealand Breakers this past year, but definitely a project wing player, a French guy. But maybe he becomes Victor Wembanyama. Who knows?
He could be. Number 30, the last pick in the first round of this draft. The LA Clippers are here. And I've got them going a similar route that they did last year with Moussa Diabate, and I've got them taking Amari Bailey. I think it's similar in my eyes.
Even though they're like totally different positions.
Yeah, that comparison doesn't work because I thought like Moussa overperformed his ranking at Michigan.
Yeah, and
Amari Bailey
definitely underperformed. Like just didn't play a lot at UCLA. Like should have.
Yeah, that was a terrible trying to relate the two.
Right, yeah.
But Amari Bailey going to the Clippers.
Yeah, I have Trace Jackson Davis going here to the LA Clippers, an immediate impact guy who I don't know if he's going to work in the NBA because he's a smaller big man that doesn't shoot threes. So how's that going to work in the NBA? But he's a really good shot blocker, though, so you give him that. And then I said, why not do this Pistons pick since it's the first one of the second round? Why not? So I got G.G. Jackson going at 31. Get a young dude that might end up being good. I think the 31st pick, dude, I mean, they might trade it. Who knows, to move up back. They might do a Burks in 17 or Burks in 31 or Bogdanovich in 31 for another pick. But if you keep 31, dude, that could be a good player.
Yeah.
We got Livers a couple years ago. Like,
don't make me think I didn't do it. I got 31st pick. It's Monty Bates.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. Bring him home.
Yep.
Come on, Monty.
Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, everybody, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the draft on Thursday. And go Pistons. Super excited for the draft. All right, bye.
Bye.